I'm not a book reader, and that's possibly why I have never written a book. But I can tell you that Babangida's book was very, very terrifying. Reading it for me yesterday was, I don't know, I have questions. Are there still any investigative journalists in Nigeria? Who are they? Why are they not talking about this? Have you noticed many investigative journalists are fearful for their safety? Babangida doesn't have to come to them. They can send people to them. Unfortunately, this is the life we live in Nigeria. I was a persecuted journalist and I left the country. I don't feel safe. Some of the stuff that's happened to me in Nigeria, just because I'm writing the truth, some of the stuff I want to tell you, I kind of pull back because you don't like the truth. You like the lies. If I gave you lies throughout that 11 years I was in Nigeria, I'd be a billionaire now. You know what I mean? Like, lie in the stories, lie everywhere. People would donate to me. I would have opened my media house. You know, you don't know where a lot of people's monies came from in the media. A lot of it came from lying and doing what the politicians want you to do. I have questions in that book. Vatsa. Maman Vatsa was executed by Babangida. And I think about how somebody executed their childhood friend because of envy, jealousy, and what I call paranoia. He was scared that they were going to blow down the presidential jet. He was scared that they're going to blow up Eco Bridge. I mean, you guys are young out there. Okay, I cater to the youth of Nigeria. My audience is the youth of Nigeria. And I want to tell you that we live this as youth. Okay? Babangida and my father are very good friends. Okay? IBB is, how old is he? 88 or 87? My father will be 90 next month. I haven't seen my father for 6 years. You know the story. But at the end of the day, I will tell you some things that I grew up knowing. Why? Because I'm a journalist. You will never hear this from any of my siblings. According to my dad, he was in the room when those guys came in. Notice how the book doesn't talk about the exact people that came into that room. It was a 10-member delegation, and they were all army generals. A 10-member delegation walked into that room. My father used to go to Mina a lot to see Babangida. But a 10-member delegation walked into that room, led by General David Mark. And that delegation said, you have to annul that election. If you don't annul that election, we'll kill Abiola ourselves. That is the way the story goes. Sometimes around 2007, Babangida said something about they threatened him and Abiola, and he potentially saved Abiola's life by annulling the election. So some 10 generals walked into the room and they threatened Abiola and you saved Abiola's life. Okay, so he changed the story. Basically, he said they threatened him. Okay, and he potentially saved Abiola's life. So now he changed the story to they threatened me and Abiola. It was starting to come out. And now we have a book. My question is not for Babangida and not for anybody. It's just, not even for my dad. I haven't spoken to my dad for years. It's just the way Nigeria was run, like no man's business. Babangida has not addressed the Gloria Okon story. I didn't see that in the book. Please let me know if you saw it somewhere. The Gloria Okon story was about a young lady who was trafficking drugs to and through London. And she said Mrs. Babangida was the one that hired her to traffic the drugs. So you wonder, why are the people at the helms of government owning Nigeria actually trafficking drugs? Drug trafficking was very high in the 80s. You guys need to know that in early 90s and all that. So the story with the Gloria Okon thing was that the woman said she was working for Mariam Babangida, and Babangida's people, I want to use the word allegedly, because nobody has solved that case. Delegiwa went to that case, and allegedly these people who work for IBB told him to kill the story. You know about killing the story. I don't kill stories. There's been times when I was offered money to kill a story. I don't do that. Lida Keji does that. Okay, that's why I called her a smokescreen blogger. All right, and she's not even a journalist. She asked for 750,000 naira from people to take down stories, and I just think that's wrong. But then she can get away with it because she's a blogger. She's not a journalist. Because in ethics of journalism, you're not supposed to do that. Some of the stories I know about Shagari, Awolowo, and many other things, I tend to tell these stories to people that need to know. I once called Sheyi Awolowo and Bello Shagari, introduced each other, and I told them about the histories of their grandfather. Because both of them were not born, I believe. Both of them were not born when their grandfathers were running for presidents. And both of their grandfathers were also Minister of Finance. Awolowo versus Shagari has been going on before the presidency. They ran for presidents twice, and they were both Minister of Finance. One was during the Biafra War, one was after. So this is why I tell Nigerian youth these stories, so that you can know the history of Nigeria. And they took history out for a long time. Some of you that they took history out of your schools are now graduated from university and you've moved on with your lives. But you need to know the history. I still want to know why Babangida didn't address Gloria Okon. They now said there was no Gloria Okon. They made her invisible. They now say she died. There were so many things, but the agreement that Delegiwa had was send the money, I'll kill the story. They sent a bomb. The people in between this transaction have spoken, but Babangida has never, ever admitted to it. In the book, he said that they trolled him pretty much with the Delegiwa story. They trolled my administration. I wish you could talk more about it. Marian is dead now. Delegiwa, dead men don't talk. We will never know the truth. And this is the one reason I don't respect Delegiwa, because he broke the ethics of journalism. A brown envelope. And that's what started that term in Nigeria, brown envelope journalist. A lot of journalists take brown envelopes from politicians to alter stories, to kill stories. Even my father is involved in that brown envelope. I've seen my father actually write an article and give it to a journalist to print in a newspaper and have the journalist's name on the story. Ghostwriting and stuff. Yeah, my own father. So I don't care what you think. Why didn't Babangida address the $12 billion in the Gulf War? The Gulf War, $12 billion. You know that money that Gani Farounmi took him to court for? Where is that $12 billion? You would never see that money anymore. But one thing I want to tell you is that when Uncle Wale died, I was a witness to something that really shocked me. We were at Uncle Wale Awolowo's funeral and his lying in state at the Nigerian Tribune headquarters in Ibadan. In the front room was my dad and I. I accompanied my dad. My mom couldn't go. So as we're in the front row, sirens blared outside. There were so many dignitaries coming in, so you'll hear sirens. But this particular one, it was the Senate president. My dad hit me on the hand and said, "Oh yeah, Kemi, let's go. I can never be in the same room as David Mark." My father left the event because David Mark arrived. My dad looked at me and said, he walked in with 10 five-star generals and threatened Abiola if Babangida didn't annul the election. That came from my father's mouth. He'll be 90 next month. Let me tell you something. Listen to what I say.